Hi guys, so I'm Kiki and welcome back to Andromeda 6. This is part 12 of the series, and just as a little intro I want to say the other day I woke up with like really bad ear pain and I went to the doctor and they said I had like a very bad ear cyst and it's from this year. It hurts very much. I won't be wearing my headphones today because it does hurt a lot. I do take like some medication to like take off the pain, but yeah, it's still like pretty unpleasant, so I still want to make a video just to, you know, be consistent and not keep you guys like guessing like what's happening to her. So yeah, and I'm feeling a little bit better today, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully that thing just goes away on its own, like, or with medication or whatever. And thank you so much once again for the support, guys. I really do appreciate it. And let's just start this quick little sweet episode, because I'm not gonna make it like too long, because I really need to get my rest, you know. So let's get started. There we go. I'm gonna just load into my game. And last time we saw someone from our past who was Vex, and we were reminded that we are actually the princess of this whole empire. And let's just continue. And the faces in front of me are a mix of horror, confusion and anger, and my stomach drops knowing the weight of the bomb I've dropped on every single one of them. S. Shit, I can say that. Well, this changes things. This changes everything, Ayame says. Damon is the one who approaches first, the hard side of his gaze a perfect contradiction to grin that tilts his lips. I don't get that sentence, I don't know. Let's see what they say. He studies me for a moment, seeing me through new eyes before he turns back to the crew. Don't you see, if we turn over this little princess to Zobak, it could be just enough to wipe his bounty on us from the record. Oh, I do nothing but stare at him in disbelief, my heart pounding in my ears like a drum. Yeah. What did he just say? At least two shouts of outrage came from the group, though Damon only smiles wider, his teeth glinting under the fluorescent lights. You've gone too far. Oh my god, look at his eye. Look at Bash's eye. It's gone red. You've gone too far, Damon. Kiki is one of us. We're not just gonna hand her over to her family's murderer. And Ayame says, agreed. I will kick your A if another word of it comes out of your mouth. My eyes catch June's for the briefest moment, but he looks away just as quickly, fixing Damon with a hard stare. Damon snorts at Aya's threat, rolling his eyes as if he couldn't care less. Then he steps towards the captain, his face blocked from my view and his voice low, calculated. What's he gonna say? Cal, I know you agree with me on this. Calderon looks past Damon, those cold eyes fixing me on the spot, though I harden myself and stand my ground. And then he shakes his head at his second in command, his voice rough, leaving no room for debate. It's not an option. Damon clicks his tongue in disappointment and backs off, hands held in front of him in defeat. Alright, have it your way. But don't go crucifying me for saying that what you're all thinking. He slinks away like an angry cat, every pair of eyes on him as if he might snatch me away, until he disappears up the stairs and out of sight. Yeah, Damon, he's a little snake, dude. Like, I can't believe we romanced him. I mean, I knew he was like a little bit edgy, but just offering to do this, like, after, you know, we agreed to help him and to like pull our own way, that's just yeah, he's a little sly snake. Bad Damon. So once gone, Calderon lets out a tired sigh. I think we should call it a night. It's been a long day and there's much we need to discuss tomorrow. June spares me not a single glance as he heads off with the others, and my stomach drops at the sight. I want to speak to him about all of this more than anything, but I have to agree with Calderon that it's best to wait until tomorrow. Kiki, I need to speak with you. Hopefully we can make some decisions here. Like, this is one of my favorite things about this game. It's that you can actually make decisions and they can sort of change the game as you go along. It's really nice. I really appreciate games like that. It's a nice thing to have. I really like it. So with a nod, I followed the captain up to bridge, falling behind and losing myself in my thoughts. We walked in silence, but I don't mind it. My head is reeling and I have to mentally prepare myself for the conversation to come. When Calderon stops, he turns to face me, but the anger is drained from him. Instead, he seems concerned. an emotion I'm not used to seeing on him. How are you feeling? Also, he's... Ooh, the question both relieves me and takes me off guard at the same time. And with the way he's looking at me, I know that things have changed. Things haven't always been easy between the captain and I, but despite that, I'm glad he asked. And he had stood up for me against Damon after all. Yeah, he's not that bad, Calderon. We can be emotional, aloof, or strong. Like I'm going to fall apart at any moment, like I don't want to think about any of it, or like I have some tough decisions to make. I think he's gonna appreciate if we are strong. But I think he's at that stage where even if we're emotional, I think he's gonna accept it because it's like perfectly understandable. So I think I'm gonna go with the emotional route. There's this weight on my chest that just keeps growing and growing, and honestly, I don't know how much longer I can keep it together. Calderon nods, and I know he understands. Perhaps it's something he even felt before. It's a lot to take in. Don't feel like I have to hold it together on account of any of us. Too many emotions cascade through me. I swallow hard, biting down my lip when the tears sting at my eyes, threatening to fall. I can't believe they're gone, every single one of them. It's barbaric. Calderon drops his head, letting out a long breath before he looks at me again, his face anguished. I owe you an apology. He drags the thumb across his bottom lip, and I can see this isn't easy for him. I'm so sorry for what I said the first day you came aboard. You don't have to. No, I do. The captain fixes me with a hard stare, and I close my mouth, content to listen. I have to say it. I have no excuse for how I acted. I just need you to know that I'm sorry for all of it. Thank you, or you have to do better than that, or hug him. We can hug him, or yeah, let's just flirt with the captain. He's nice. Or we can just say thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna just say thank you. So thank you for saying so. I appreciate it, and I accept your apology. And know we were only being cautious. Calderon smiles, but his face drops as soon as some hidden memory surfaces, and he hesitates for a moment before speaking again. I knew your brother, Prince Soren. We trained for the guard together, and we were friends for a time, before we were dispatched for different districts. I freeze, letting the words sink in. I had no idea the two of them even knew each other, and now that I know, I can't tell how it makes me feel. He was a good man. He didn't deserve what happened to him. None of your family did. It was his wedding the night of the attack. I remember it now. Oh my god, that's even worse, dude. My voice shakes when I speak, the past hanging over me like a thundercloud ready to explode. We weren't close, but I never wanted this. I never wanted to see any of them get hurt like this. My breath sticks in my throat, and for a moment I have trouble getting air to lungs that squeeze and tighten in my chest. People hated my father. Does that mean he deserves to die? I shake my head. That's not what I meant at all, but I certainly don't wonder why people wanted him gone. I heard what the people said when I would sneak into the city. They said he was narcissistic, that he was leaving the people to suffer while our family drank from golden goblets and ate off of silver plates. My brothers and sisters were content to live a life of privilege, either too ignorant or scared to do anything else. But Nerissa, the heir to the throne, she loved the people. She tried to change our father's mind on so many things, but he would never listen. And I felt so powerless. I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing. I'm just as bad as he was. No, wanting to do something about it, that's the first step. Oh, look at his face, like he's serious about this. And you can tell that since he worked for the guard, for us, then he really... He does feel bad for what happened. He has like a newfound respect for us, you know. So, for me it was the only step, or I'd rather not talk about it anymore. Of course I want to talk about it with him. For me it was the only step. Well, in that case, it was the only step I ever made. I never had the chance to do more. Calderon gives me what might be considered a soft look, if anything about him was soft at all. When I... anything. So when I graduated from my training in the guard, I was top of my squadron. I could have picked any posting I wanted, but I chose to be stationed in the worst sector of the Bronze District. Do you know why? I shake my head. From what Damon had insinuated in the bar, I wasn't aware Calderon had a choice as to where he was stationed. Because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted the people to know that there was still someone who gave an S about them, who would fight for them. I hide my frown, hesitating before asking the question that's poised on my lips. but it's one that seems important. Because that's where you are from? His blue eyes go dark, but eventually he nods, looking away and letting out a short, sharp breath. My moms gave me everything I ever wanted, but my birth parents, I couldn't stop myself from wondering if it was their circumstances that prevented them from keeping me. He was quiet for a moment, but then he says with a shrug, or maybe they just didn't want me, who knows? I'm sure they did. He glances sidelong at me, putting the wall back in place piece by piece. Before he can finish rebuilding it completely, I ask another question. Why were you exiled? Calderon's throat bops, his face darkening as he closes himself off more and more. I don't want to talk about that. So I won't let him shut me out again, not this time. Calderon, please tell me. He stops to study me as if deciding how much he wants me to know. I see the moment he gives in when a breath of air leaves him and his shoulders slump in defeat. I wasn't exiled initially, I was awaiting my execution. You what? Accused of the murder of Lord Calderon, the king's uncle, the head of the crown council. My eyes widen on the man in front of me, hardly believing what I'm hearing. I remember Lord Calderon's death. I remember attending his funeral with the rest of my family and how my father had taken the loss particularly hard. They said his murder was caught and he was brought to justice. Back then I didn't care to know more. I never liked my father's uncle. He was mean and cruel and was... So, when he does speak, his voice is low, barely audible above the beeps and whirs of the bridge. I cared about those people in the Bronze District, but I was the only one. When I started pushing for change, others saw that as a problem. I was betrayed by those closest to me and used as a pawn in Jez Zovak's scheme to get rid of the biggest opposition to his claim and infiltrate the Crown Council from the inside. You knew Zovak? No, not until Aya busted me out of that prison and told me who was really behind everything I was accused of. Couldn't you have told someone, cleared your name? Zovak already had the council in the palm of his hand. Who would have believed me? I swallow hard. This time the swallow isn't thick, it's hard, guys. I'm sorry about that. So knowing what he says makes sense, but hating the injustice of it anyway. I had a lot of time to think while I was waiting for my death. A lot of time to wonder where things all went wrong. And what conclusion did you come to? That I trusted the wrong people and that I wouldn't make the same mistake again. Suddenly the captain's distrust makes a lot of sense to me. He was hurt, plain and simple, and all he was trying to do is make sure it doesn't happen again. Who betrayed you? I think we've spoken about it enough. I nod. He had already told me so much more than I ever thought he would. What about the bounty then? What's the deal there? It's simple really. When Zovak found out I had escaped and assembled the crew, he put out the hit on the lot of us. His followers see him as their champion, the protagonist in their little story, banishing the evil king and taking the throne as his own. But the people, the ones who have suffered long and hard enough, see him for what he truly is, a tyrant, pushing those on the lowest ring down further still and calling it salvation. It takes only a spark to start the flames of a revolution, as Zovak well knows. That's why he wants us gone. So you'll fight him? I'll do whatever I can to pull him from the throne. When the time comes, we'll have to do something, but we're only 6 against an entire army. 7. Would you fight with us, princess? And I can say, yes, of course. I would if you'll have me. A crooked grin tugs at his lips and I know he's glad to hear it. If I recall correctly, you've already secured your place on the crew. It's yours for as long as you want it. I think of the second in command who might have a different view on the matter. Damon. It's under my command as long as he's on this ship. I can't make excuses for his behavior. The things he's had to do to survive are brutal and he's become ruthless because of it. It doesn't surprise me that this was his first instinct. I'm not about to make Zovak's job any easier for him, and I know the crew would agree with me on that, all of them. I don't say it out loud, but I hope he's right. A sound goes off on the device around his wrist, and with a movement of his arm, he brings up the hollow screen and scans the words in front of him. Riona is waiting for you in the infirmary. She wants to do a checkup. I'm okay, she doesn't have to worry. He gives me a look and I know at once that I'm fighting a losing battle. She will anyway. Best to put her mind at ease or she'll be on both our backs about it. I start to leave, but before I make it much further, he calls out to me one last time. Tomorrow we'll be deciding our next move. You'll have a say in the decision if you want it. I give a nod, knowing my status as a princess of Goldis will be a contributing factor to whatever comes next. Well, of course, we're a princess, so... With a last goodbye, I leave the captain on the bridge and head towards the infirmary before we both incur the wrath of the Telari medic. So we go to the infirmary, and the doors of the infirmary hiss as they open and admit me to the room. And Riona's head snaps up from where... from where she is seated in front of her terminal. She gives me a soft smile, standing to greet me. I was beginning to think Calderon ignored my message. Does he do that a lot? She chuckles, her blue lips widening to reveal most of her teeth. More than you think. I pace further into the room, glancing over the various plant specimens that cover the cabinets and desk. You said you wanted to do a checkup. I do. Well, really, I just wanted to make sure you were alright. She gestures for me to take a seat on the familiar medical bed, and once again the plastic crinkles under me as I sit. It smells different in here this time, like jasmine buds and nightfall. I'm sure Riona's mistress to thank for the pleasant scent, and I inhale deeply, letting it calm me. So now that your memories have started returning, how much do you remember? Bits and pieces, they seem to be coming back easier now, and some are still fuzzy. Riona takes her medical wand and lights the tip, checking my eyes first, and then my ears before she takes my temperature. Yeah, if Riona had to check my ears, she would find a cyst right there, I'm telling you. And by the way, if you noticed, I don't know if you've seen like my ears before, but usually they're all like, they're both like they were pretty symmetrical. But once I got this cyst, like I have it in this ear, and if you can see, it's like lower and like far wider than this one, and it's like so bad, it's like deformed my ear too. So it's oh my god, it's so bad. So let's just do a couple more lines and I'm gonna have to get going, guys. So she asks, any pain? I have a headache, but that's it. She sets down her wand and goes over to a large cabinet. After shuffling around it a bit, she comes back with a small container. Take a couple of these, they'll give you some relief. You can take them every 4 to 6 hours if the pain persists. She fills a glass with water and hands it to me, and I swallow down a couple of the pills. Almost immediately the ache in my head begins to dull, and I hand the glass back to her with a grateful smile. I'll have to do some scans over the next couple of days. They will take a little while, but it'll give me a clearer view of what's going on with that head of yours. I nod and she gives me a gentle smile, placing a comforting hand on my arm. I can imagine what she must be going through right now. And then her face falls and the glimmer of her skin fades, betraying her true emotions. I'm sorry for your family, Kiki. I truly am. My throat tightens as tears threaten to spill once again, but I manage a graceful smile through it all. Thank you. I know what it's like to live with a difficult family, and I've seen my share of tragedy. After talking it over with Calderon, I don't feel I can take any more talk about my family, so I steer the conversation in a new direction instead. When you left your home, was it a difficult decision to make? Rihanna gives me a sidelong glance, and as though she sees what I'm doing, thankfully she runs with it. The toughest, but I knew I had to do something more. That's when I joined the Archangels and traveled the system with them, helping those in need. What happened to them? With a sigh, she brings her chair over to face where I sit and drops down into it with no small amount of grace. I'll tell you if you want to hear it, but it's not a pretty story actually. And I think we're gonna end it here because I really want to see what Riona has to say about her story, because it's pretty damn interesting. And let me just save this. Yeah, I'm gonna override the save. So thank you guys for joining me on this adventure once again. I really cannot wait to continue. I'm gonna play this game again tomorrow, so another episode is coming after this one as well. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, wish me luck on my recovery with my ear. Like, hopefully it doesn't get like more serious than this. I am taking pills for it, and I am under like the supervision of a doctor, so that's gonna be fine, I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna let like an ear cyst ruin my life. So yeah, thank you so much again for 10 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.